Top spot in batting in the PGCBO. Amsterdam now with a 303 team average. Jammers at 296. Jammers still have the best ERA in the league at 3.07, and now tied for second in fielding in the PGCBO with Elmira at 960. Mohawk Valley leading the league with a 969 field percentage. And tonight we have some news about Jamestown Jammers that will be attending the PGCBO All-Star Game. The West Division roster just announced a little bit ago this evening. Jimmy Standahar, Chris Conley, Skylar Valentine, Ben Brookover, Colin Stack, Chris Estrada from the pitching side, Colin Johnston, and Corey Blessing. So congratulations to the Jammers that'll be heading on to the PGCBO All-Star Game coming up on Tuesday night. Speaking of coming up, we're going to talk to Chris Estrada, get to know him a little bit better, and then we'll talk to Anthony Barone about the current troubles the Jammers have been going through and how we get through that. We'll do all that coming up. It's the pregame show before Jamestown and Elmira on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Pennswood.net Classifieds offers the freshest, most recent classified ads available with over 1,500 new ads each day. If you're looking for a reliable used vehicle, check out the multiple ads daily on Pennswood.net Classifieds. From cars, trucks, RVs, and motorcycles, you can scan the ads at Pennswood.net at any time of the day or night and find something that fits your needs. Looking for household items, student housing, or even a new pet? Pennswood.net Classifieds has it. Pennswood.net, where you can buy, sell, or trade locally.
We're here with Chris Estrada as he joins the Jammers this year. Young man out of Corpus Christi, Texas, another one of the UTSA guys. Chris, first of all, you've been here, I've been watching you play. Pretty much fearless down at third base. I got to tip my cap to you. Solid at the plate. It's been a good start for you here. Mm-hmm. One of the things we always try to do is go back and talk about what's going on with you at UTSA, how this past season was.
It went pretty good. I spent my first 2 years in junior college, so this past year was my first year actually in Division I baseball.
Yeah. Big difference?
A slight difference.
Okay.
In the pitchers compared to junior college, and D1 is probably the breaking pitch. They have more command over it, and that's really the difference. And they could probably spot up a little bit better, but not too big of a jump. Year went pretty good until maybe like the last quarter. I probably fell into like a little slump. And,
were you getting tired at that point, or just?
I think it was just I was missing pitches, and I think in my head I was just trying to fix something that probably wasn't broken.
You were thinking baseball instead of playing baseball.
I was probably thinking a little bit too much. So the end of the year it didn't go the way I wanted it to. So, but now I'm trying to now I'm here, reset, just trying to readjust, and I think I'm trying to find my swing a little bit better, and I think
you're getting there.
Got a pretty good feel of it now.
Yeah. Did you play third at UTSA as well?
Yeah, the whole season.
Yeah, it's you seem comfortable and very much at home there, and of course, as we move from field to field, it's always an adventure as to how those hops are going to come to you. But you've handled it really well. I got to tip my cap to you. You got a strong throw over to first too, which is a big part of being a successful third baseman. Heck, ran into a guy in Independent League, and he was trying out with the Tigers organization at third base, and they watched the speed that he threw over to first, and they said, "Have you ever pitched?" And they turned him into a pitcher then after they saw how fast he could throw to first base. Wow. And it worked out okay for a while, but no, that's such a big part of it. Talk about being here at Jamestown, and do you have specific goals set up for yourself?
As far as here?
Yes.
No, not really. I just wanted to, like I said earlier, I just wanted to come out here and just reset, not think about what happened at the end of the season. The end of the past season, trying to work on the things that I need to work on here, and that's really it. I don't really have any goals specifically.
That's fine. That's fine. You're coming to play, and that's what it is. You're playing baseball, and that's a good thing. Talk about your youth baseball, when you got started and, through high school.
I started playing when I was 6 years old, and ever since then I just wouldn't stop playing. Year round. My dad, putting me in select teams and stuff, and putting all that money out, and just so I can play. And high school, I think I made the varsity team when I was a sophomore, but I didn't play because that whole varsity team was all seniors. So I started my junior year, and then that year we made it all the way to the state championship, but we lost. So that was really the highlight of my high school career.
Yeah, I would think so. Texas, pretty good baseball state, so it's not easy to get to a state championship for sure.
I actually played shortstop when I was in high school. Yeah, and then I made the transition to third my freshman year of junior college.
Was that a decision that did your coach need you at third, or is that something that you wanted to try? Or
well, that year, when they were recruiting me and I signed, and he was like, "Yeah, you're gonna play short." So, all right. So I got there, and they had a guy transfer in from BYU, and he was a little bit faster. He said he had another step on me, so he was like, "You know what? How about you try third?" And so I moved over to third, and the first inter squad, the first ball that was hit to me, it was a line drive. It was probably one of the hardest balls I've ever seen. It was a line drive. It tailed about 5 feet over, and I just jumped and I threw my hands up, and the ball took my glove off. Gloves in the outfield, and both of the coaches are sitting right there next to me on third, and they're just laughing, and they're like, hey, you'll get it. And so I was like, all right, I guess. And I've been there ever since.
Well, it's paid off. One last thing before you go, you had mentioned your dad. Talk about the support of your parents. I mean, I know it's so important for all student athletes, and obviously you have that going on.
Yeah, my parents are probably the most supportive people. My dad, he even asked some of the UTSA guys this whole year, he comes to the games at home, and he's got that camcorder, and he's been recording me ever since I started.
Wow.
He's got boxes of just the VHS tapes, and he's got CDs, and and he's just now learned how to use Facebook and YouTube. So now he's got the videos, and he's just uploading videos like crazy, and he's just like, I mean, it's pretty cool,
Oh yeah. Well, you can tell he's proud of you.
Yeah.
And we're certainly glad to have you. It's been great to watch you play so far.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Yes, sir.
That is Chris Estrada. I love that story about in the inter-squad game where the ball got ripped off, or the ball ripped the glove off his hand, and his glove ended up in left field in a start at third base after he had been a shortstop for so long. Great story and a great interview, and if you want to see it, you can tune in to YouTube and catch the video of Chris Estrada. Coming up, we're going to talk to Anthony Barone, the head coach of the Jamestown Jammers. That is next on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Pennswood.net Classifieds offers the freshest, most recent classified ads available with over 1,500 new ads each day. If you're looking for a reliable used vehicle, check out the multiple ads daily on Pennswood.net Classifieds. From cars, trucks, RVs, and motorcycles, you can scan the ads at Pennswood.net at any time of the day or night and find something that fits your needs. Looking for household items, student housing, or even a new pet? Pennswood.net Classifieds has it. Pennswood.net, where you can buy, sell, or trade locally.
Here with Anthony Barone, the head coach of the Jamestown Jammers, getting ready to take on the Elmira Pioneers. A daunting task always when we come to Dunfield, but we're going to have to backtrack to last night. And currently the Jammers are in a little bit of a funk. There's two ways to look at this. We've lost 3 of our last 4, or we're 7-3 in our last 10. Half full, half empty. I'm sure you'd prefer to look at the half full side of things.
Yeah, I'm it's really hard to play the type of baseball we've been playing for the whole season, and we went into a little funk here, and part of it is we're on the road, I think, and part of it is the other teams are playing pretty well. You know, sometimes you just run into some teams that beat you, and I think the last couple nights, you know, last night Onondaga threw a guy that was pretty good, and he was on his game, and the night before that, you know, it was a good baseball game that we just didn't get the win. So, and like you said, tonight's no easy chore coming here to Elmira and facing their pitching staff and their lineups very good. So we have our work cut out for us.
One thing's for sure, last night there were not a lot of wasted opportunities, and that was primarily because it seemed as though in the early innings up till about the 7th, every time we got somebody on base, he ended up being erased on a double play of some sort. There were various and assorted sundry double plays, and it's tough to get anything going when that happens. I mean, basically their pitcher faced the minimum through 6, even though we had 3 hits at that point.
Yeah, I mean, on that turf, anything you hit on the ground is, you got men on base, is pretty routine for a double play. So, I don't know, you know, it's just we didn't get ourselves into good hitters counts last night, and when we did, we'd roll the ball over. The guy was throwing like a natural sinker sorta, and he was tough to hit. He was a taller kid, 6'4", and really came down. And you know, guys had a tough time hitting him last night. But you know, hopefully we'll get back on track tonight.
All right, we'll come back and talk about tonight's game against these Elmira Pioneers next when the pregame show continues on the Jammers Baseball Network.
I don't believe it. My savings are gone.
Okay, think. Where'd you have them last?
I was home, then I spent them on that vacation in this tiny suit of armor. Now they're gone.
Weird.
Weird? Not really. Not saving now means no money later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1,000,000. For free ideas on ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Oh, I broke his little gauntlet.
Oh no.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Back with Anthony Barone, the head coach of the Jamestown Jammers, and an unusual thing to see as we always take a look at where our team stands in relation to the rest of the league when it comes to the 3 categories we talked about, hitting, pitching, and also fielding. And our hitting, finally, the Amsterdam Mohawks have succeeded us in first place in the league. We're not that far behind, 303 to 296. The pitching staff continues to have great ERA numbers, and the other one is, plus, we're coming up as far as the fielding goes. We're second in the league in fielding. So, you know, it's kind of a mixed bag. You hate to lose that position at the top, and when you have a game like we had last night, that's going to take the team batting average down a little bit.
Yeah, we're still second, and you know, we're second in that, first in ERA, and second in fielding percentage. So, top 2 in all 3 categories, and I think our record is indicative of that. And play all 3 facets of the game, you should have a chance to win. So, yeah, I'm actually pleasantly surprised about the way the team's been playing defensively the last week or 10 days. And, you know, we're just, you know, got to still keep pitching it and have our good at-bats and keep with our approach of walking a little bit, and we should be okay.
We talk about the difficulties in coming into this facility, Dunn Field here in Elmira, and what it takes to beat these guys. And then you look at the team batting average, and Elmira is right behind us. We're hitting 296 as a team, and they're hitting 285 now, good for 3rd in the league. And something that you and I talked about, we had looked at their roster early in the season when we played them and noted how many young guys they have on this roster. And I think now they're into what they're doing, and it's a little bit of a different situation from what they had in college, but they're responding to it now.
Yeah, Elmira, you know, they grew up. You know, they're freshmen, finally got their experience, because a lot of those guys at bigger schools might not have played a lot at their school. So they finally got seasoning here the first, you know, 20, 25 games of the year, and now they're sort of coming into their own as ball players, and, you know, they're no longer freshmen anymore, and they're experienced with a wood bat, which helps, and, you know, we're just trying to get better as well. So we need to sort of stop the bleeding and try to get them back on track tonight.
Well, I am fond of the phrase, I wasn't always, but as I've been around baseball longer and longer, good pitching stops good hitting. I just don't care how you want to write that equation. That's the way it works. And your starter tonight, Corey Blessing, certainly embodies that good pitching aspect.
Yeah, we're hoping, Corey can come out and give us 6-7 strong innings and give us a chance to win. I think he's been pretty good his first couple starts. We're just trying to, get better. And he's been working hard in the bullpen sessions and conditioning, and he's been one of the best pitchers in this league the last couple of years. So we're excited he's on our side.
No doubt about that. And finally, the last thing we'll touch on is the lineup, which has been something that you've been working with game after game, trying to get the right combinations. One of the things I saw, and this is something that I see in the major leagues a lot, and baseball maybe in general, you have a guy up in the upper part of the batting order. I'm talking about Chris Estrada, and he's having not really what I call a super struggle, but struggling a little bit over the last couple of games. You moved him down to 6th in the batting order, and he seemed to respond to that. What goes on there as far as a coach and making that move with a guy who's normally up hitting like 2nd in the batting order and moving him down to 6th?
Actually, just yesterday I did it because John Conte's been so hot, and I just thought, putting Standahar and Conte up at the top together provides a lot of speed, especially on the turf yesterday. So I just did it to shake it up a little bit. Nothing, out of the ordinary. Chris is still pretty much our number 2 hitter. He'll probably be back there tonight. Just waiting on Conley to see. He's sort of a game time decision if he's going to hit tonight. So waiting on that, and then we'll go for the lineup from there.
All right, sounds good. Need to get a win here and salvage something out of this road trip. Good luck tonight.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Dave.
If you want to promote me, that's fine. We'll be back with the start of tonight's game right after this on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Hi, this is Curtis Stone. Now, I've cooked a lot of food in my day. Steaks, salads, pasta, seafood, chicken, soup, sandwiches. I mean, you name it, and I've prepared it thousands of times. But even I can't cook enough to feed all of the 17 million kids in America struggling with hunger. That's 1 out of every 5 children. Now, luckily, there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food produced right here in America to feed every last one of those hungry kids. The only problem is getting it to them. That's where the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks comes in. They gather up surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families all across the country. We call them food angels, and you can be a food angel too. Come on, earn your wins by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Back at Dunfield in Elmira, New York, getting ready for the start of tonight's game between the Jammers and the Elmira Pioneers. Let's meet the Jammers lineup tonight. Leading off, designated hitter number 17, Chris Conley. Batting second, third baseman number 16, Chris Estrada, who we got to meet a little more in depth in the pregame show with our player profile. Batting third, first baseman number 30, Ben Brookover. In the cleanup spot, center fielder number 2, Skylar Valentine. Batting fifth, the second baseman number 29, Jimmy Standahar. Hitting sixth, right fielder number 9, Colin Stack. Batting seventh, left fielder number 6, John Conte. Batting eighth, it is the catcher number 22, Connor Rule. Batting ninth and playing shortstop is number 1, Alex O'Donnell. Around the field for the Pioneers, Brent Vosick in left, Aubrey Major in center. Ayrton Schaefer is in right, Troy Dixon at third, Brett Rodriguez is at short. Blake Schinkel at second, Braden Combs down at first. Marshall Gilbert behind the plate, catching lefty Jake Hamilton. Chris Conley makes his way to the plate, and we'll tell you about the all-star selections as we go along. And Chris Conley, as you would expect, has been selected to the West All-Star team in the first pitch. From Jake Hamilton is high and inside. Chris had to bail out of the left-hander's batter's box, ball 1. And we are underway at 7:07 this evening. The 1-0 pitch misses low. Pretty close to that outside corner, but it's ball 2, and the count is 2-0 on Chris Conley. 2 balls, no strikes. Hamilton's next pitch inside again to Conley, and the count is now 3-0. Chris Conley, one of his leading categories in the PGCBO is the amount of times he's been hit by a pitch, and that is 11. And he's pretty bruised up right now. I'm sure he'd like to avoid that, and he does. Another pitch comes inside, and Chris Conley's walked on 4 pitches. Jake Hamilton coming into the game with a 2-1 record, his 7th game and 7th start, a 3.23 ERA, 30 2/3 innings that he has pitched. He's given up 20 runs on 32 hits. 11 of the 20 runs are earned. He's walked 25 and struck out 16, and opponents are hitting .286 with Jake Hamilton on the hill. Second hitter tonight for the Jamestown Jammers. Like I say, check out the video on YouTube of our interview with Chris Estrada. Get to know him a little better. Chris Estrada is also a selection for the West All-Star team in the PGCBL. Fouls off the next pitch from Hamilton, and the count is even now at 1, and the first strike thrown in the game by Jake Hamilton. Chris Estrada comes into the game hitting .289. This is 34th game and 33rd start. He's 39 for 135. And that's at the point where Chris Estrada, I do believe, is the league leader in at-bats now, coming into the game. Yes, at 135 he is the leader. Brookover second with 133, just 2 behind, and a fly ball right at Aubrey Major by Chris Estrada for the first out in the Jammers' half of the first inning. One gone to first baseman Ben Brookover. Jammers looking to bounce back. This has not been a good road trip, losing to Geneva in 14 innings by a final of 7-6 and dropping last night's game to Onondaga by a score of 5-2. And all of Onondaga's runs came in the first 2 innings. Everything was pretty well shut down after that. Brookover hits one high, deep to left center field. Major going back, looks up. It's over the wall. And this is a triple high chain link fence wall in the outfield. And Ben Brookover just launched it right beside the light standard out there in left center field. A 2-run homer, and the Jammers have taken a 2-0 lead here in the top of the first inning. What a poke by Ben. He hit one that we thought was going to be out in the game against Geneva, and it just didn't want to go. And in the meantime then, the second baseman, Dominic Toso, hit one that didn't look anything different from a pop-up, and it ended up going out. Well, Ben just got even. Skylar Valentine at the plate fouls off the first pitch for strike 1. Ben Brookover, by the way, also an all-star selection. And Ben now has 3 homers on the season. He, Conley, and Stack all with 3. O'Donnell with 2 on the team. Skylar Valentine, another all-star selection, if I did not mention that already, coming into the game hitting .345, his 33rd game, 33rd start. Is behind to Jake Hamilton. No balls, 2 strikes. 1 out, nobody aboard. Jammers up 2-0 in the top of the first. The 0-2 pitch. Skylar just gets a piece. Spider over the outside corner, and Skylar's out number 2 swinging at that 3rd strike. Jimmy Standahar steps to the plate, and guess what? Another selection to the PGCBO All-Star team, coming into the game hitting .400. This is 30th game and 26th start, 36 for 90. 13 ribbies, 44 total bases. He scored 28 runs for the Jammers, and the first pitch from Hamilton misses outside, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Inning started with a leadoff walk to Conley. Estrada flew out to Aubrey Major, and then Ben Brookover hit one a poke. Out to left center field. Jimmy swinging and missing on that pitch, and the count now 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 out and nobody aboard. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Coming with heat that time, Jake Hamilton. And the count now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Interesting, if you look at a little spot, if you're watching on YouTube, right in front of the home plate circle in fair play, there's this mark in the field, and the other guys in the press box here were making note of that mark. Looks like something was dragged over that part of the grass. And I said, either that or you got one heck of a big mole at this ballpark. Fouled off by Jimmy. Count remains 2-2. 2 runs and a hit for the Jammers here in the early going. Taking on the Elmira Pioneers, 3rd ranked in the PGCBL West. Jammers atop the West Division. That one is foul tipped and out of the glove of the catcher, Marshall Gilbert. Count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jimmy battling here after the count reaching 2-2 and is now up to his 7th pitch in this at-bat. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out and nobody on. Jake Hamilton's pitch. And he fouls it off of his instep on the left foot. Hops around just a little bit. He does have protection. He has a shin protector over there. And also it comes down toward the instep. So that may have been what saved Jimmy on that particular swing. Pitch number 8. Headed your way from Jake Hamilton. 2-2 pitch. Popped up in play down the first base line, and first baseman Braden Combs didn't seem to draw an early beat on that, and it ends up falling in foul territory. Count still 2-2. And now there were 4 pitches that were called and 4 fouls off the bat of Jimmy Standahar. Pitch 10 of the at-bat coming. 2 balls, 2 strikes still in the pitch. Swing and a miss on an off-speed delivery from Hamilton to retire the side. The Jammers score 2 runs on 1 hit, a 2-run homer off the bat of Ben Brookover. And there's no errors for the Pioneers. Nobody left on base. We've completed a half. Jammers 2, Pioneers coming to bat on the Jammers Baseball Network.
This is the news. This morning, we are saluting the 2.2 million women who have joined in the war effort. They now make up 37% of the workforce, changing their role forever.
The prestigious Harvard Medical School is breaking ground today, opening its doors to new female applicants.
Today, little girls all over the world look to the sky, where the first woman is now in space.
Military stereotypes are challenged today with the trailblazing promotion of a U.S. female officer to 4-star general. It was just announced that the vast majority of last year's doctorate degrees were earned by women.
We've come so far, but our news is changing for the worse. More women die from heart disease and stroke than men, even though it can be prevented. Make a change at GoRedForWomen.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women.
Welcome back to Dunfield in Elmira. Here's the lineup for the Pioneers tonight. Leading off shortstop number 6, Brett Rodriguez. Batting second, third baseman number 5, Troy Dixon. Hitting third, the catcher number 35, Marshall Gilbert. In the cleanup spot, center fielder number 22, Aubrey Major. Batting fifth, the right fielder number 14, Ayrton Schaefer. Batting sixth, first baseman number 24, Braden Combs. Hitting seventh, the DH number 10, Jonathan Crimmin. Batting 8th, left fielder, number 11, Brent Vosick. And batting 9th and playing second base, it's number 3, Blake Schenkel. Out in the field for the Jammers, John Conti, as Anthony Barone alluded to, has been hot of late, and he gets the start in left. Skylar Valentine in center. Colin Stack in right. Chris Estrada at third. Alex O'Donnell at short. Jimmy Standahar at second. Ben Brookover down at first. Behind the plate tonight, it's Connor Rule and another of the All-Stars selected from the Jammers for the PGCBO All-Star Game. Corey Blessing on the hill with a record of 3-0 in his 6th appearance and 4th start of the season, a .9 ERA. He's thrown 20 innings, given up 2 runs, both earned, on 10 hits, has walked 5 and struck out 18. First pitch was a ball from Corey, taken by Rodriguez, and the second one misses outside. The count is 2-0 quickly on Brett Rodriguez. Jammers stayed overnight in the Liverpool area of Syracuse and then made their way down 81 and 86 here to Dunfield. A swing and a foul tip by Brett Rodriguez. Connor Rule retrieves it as it bounced away, took a quick look at it, and kept the ball in play. 2 balls, 1 strike. Brett Rodriguez at the plate is one of the All-Stars selected from the Elmira Pioneers. He's hitting .294 in his 28th game and 27th start. Hits a slow roller. Alex O'Donnell charges, throws, and gets Brett Rodriguez for the first out here in the bottom of the first inning. 1 up, 1 down on a nice defensive play by Alex O'Donnell at short. Troy Dixon steps to the plate now for the Pioneers. Troy Dixon, also one of the All-Stars selected from the Elmira Pioneers, comes into the game hitting .326 in his 14th game and 14th start. Playing third base tonight, the first pitch by Corey Blessing is inside and low to Dixon, ball 1. Dixon, the left-handed hitter, and the righty on the hill, Corey Blessing. The 1-0 pitch misses inside, ball 2. 2-0 to Dixon. 2 balls, no strikes, nobody aboard, 1 out. Jammers up 2-0. We're in the bottom of the first. 2-0 pitch, right down the pipe, taken by Dixon and rung up for strike 1. 2 balls and 1 strike to Troy Dixon. The 2-1 pitch by Blessing. Over the inside corner, taken by Dixon, and strike 2 called. The reason that there are some leopard spots on the infield skin, it was covered with a tarp, but a few spots leaked. This one's popped off the right field. Colin Stack lazily drifts over toward right center field and makes the catch of the pop-up off the bat of Troy Dixon for the second out in the Pioneers' half of the first. And that will bring up the catcher, Marshall Gilbert. Gilbert coming to the plate is also an All-Star selection, and understandably so, as the young man now in his 20th game and 19th start for the Pioneers behind the plate tonight, hitting .365, 27 for 74 at the plate, and 18 runs scored. Checked his swing. Oh, I thought he went around, but bases umpire says no, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 pitch by Corey Blessing. This one's fouled back, and it hits off the facade of the press box high atop the roof of the home plate grandstand here at Dunfield. Count is even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 out, nobody aboard. 1-1 pitch by Blessing. Another one fouled back to the home plate grandstand netting this time, and the count now 1-2. Marshall Gilbert at the plate is 6'2", 220. He's from Trevor, Wisconsin. Attending John A. Logan, just wrapped up his sophomore year there. 1-2 the count. 2 out, nobody aboard. The pitch by Corey Blessing. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Blew it right by him to strike out Gilbert and retire the side in the bottom of the first. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. We have completed 1 at Dunfield in Elmira in the score. Jammers 2, Pioneers nothing. More after this on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult and trying personal problems every day on my TV show, but there's one problem that's just got me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. That's 1 in 5 kids who may not know where their next meal is coming from, despite the fact that there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food out there to feed them all. Now, I don't know about you, but that is unacceptable to me. Luckily, the Feeding America network of good people is out there collecting surplus food and giving hope to hungry children and their families at local food banks all across the country. But let's face it, they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Back at Dunn Field in Elmira, New York, where the Jammers have a 2-0 lead. Jammers earlier today were in the Syracuse area, and the players went to Destiny USA, the big mall in New York. As a matter of fact, the biggest mall in the state of New York, and spent some time there before hopping on the bus at about 2 o'clock and heading toward Elmira. Got here in plenty of time and had a big opportunity to watch the ground crew work to get this field ready, as it rained a substantial amount here at Dunn Field. The field was covered with a tarp, and as I say, you see those leopard spots out there in the infield. Those are some of the spots where the water managed to leak through the tarp, and they've all been taken care of. God bless the guy that invented Diamond Dry. Jammers ready to go here in the top of the second, and the parade of all-stars for the Jammers lineup will come to an end right here. Colin Stack also in the all-star game, and he is batting 6th tonight, and he'll lead things off for the Jammers in the top of the second inning. Colin Stack, the Jamestown guy, and Colin, when leading off in an inning, is hitting .414. Has a big cut and a miss, though, on the first pitch from Jake Hamilton, strike one. Threw him something off speed. I think he was expecting to see the old number 1 coming down the plate. It's not what happened, and it's no balls and 1 strike. Next pitch, way outside in the left-hander's batter's box. Of course, Colin Stack, the right-handed hitter, coming into the game with a .298 average in his 29th game and 29th start. 34 for 114, 21 runs scored. Swing and a miss by Stack. The count now 1-2 on the Jammers right fielder. Jammers will be back home tomorrow night. You want to make plans to join us for Red Bike and Blue Night. That pitch is low, and the count is now 2-2 as the off-speed pitch not near the strike zone. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Stack, the leadoff hitter here in the top of the second. Jammers up 2-0 to pitch. Reaching out and giving it a little tap, and the home plate umpire quickly out to say it's a foul ball. Catcher Marshall Gilbert thought he'd take advantage of the situation, grab it, and try to get Stack quickly. And if it had been fair, the bad news is he threw it over the head of first baseman Braden Combs. As it turns out, it's just a foul, and the count at 2-2. Jammers in the final game of their road trip started out in Geneva, then Onondaga, and now Elmira. Quite the trip. 2-2 pitch reaches out and slaps it into shallow center field. It'll fall in front of Aubrey Major. An excuse me single on the swing by Colin Stack. He's down at first, and John Conti will step to the plate. John hitting .362 on the season in his 27th game and 20th start now for the Jammers. And as Anthony Barone alluded to during the coaches show, he's been hot of late. He's 25 for 69 in the season, and he's scored 23 runs, and he has 21 ribbies to go along with all of that. Nice work by John Conti. Squares to bunt and fouls it back, and it's strike one. No balls, 1 strike to the left-handed hitting left fielder, the Jammers tonight, John Conti. Anthony Barone said early on, depending on the situations, that this team will not be afraid to play small ball. We played long ball there in the first. Got 2 runs in. See if a little small ball works here. Colin Stack has himself an assortment of stolen bases, and Conti bunts that high in the air down the first base line. If Combs would have come in a little bit faster, which would have been probably physically impossible, he might have caught that, but he didn't. And it's strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes on John Conti. Colin Stack on the season thus far for the Jammers has 10 swipes of bases. He's been caught 4 times. Standard lead off the bag at first right now. Lengthens it out, and John Conti carefully watches ball 1. 1-2 the count. As we've talked, that 0-2 count seems to be one that you can almost stand there with the bat on your shoulders, but not entirely. Some pitchers come right after you. 1-2 pitch, way outside, ball 2. Counts now even on Conti at 2 balls and 2 strikes. John Conti on the season has drawn 18 walks so far. He's had some really good patient at-bats and some great singles. Big hole between first and second. First baseman Combs holding Stack on. And they have pinched him up the middle, and all of that doesn't matter because Colin Stack is called out on strikes for the first out. Or I'm sorry, John Conti's called out on strikes for the first out here in the top of the second, bringing up the catcher Connor Rule. Connor on the season, increasing his batting average now up to .271, his 18th game and 16th start. He and Matt Cross sharing catching duties on this road trip with Chris Conley. Once again able to be in the lineup, but only as a DH tonight. First pitch to Connor, outside high, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes to the right-handed hitting catcher of the Jammers, Connor Rule. Colin Stack with the lead off of first. Not only is there that big hole between first and second, there's also a big hole between short and third. Dixon not playing excessively far off the line at third, and shortstop Brent Rodriguez shifted over toward the middle here. Not quite as much as second baseman Blake Schinkel. The pitch misses outside, an attempted frame by Marshall Gilbert, but the ump was aware of that attempt, and it's ball 3. 3-0 the count. Connor Rule in 2017 has walked 13 times. Dutifully takes the 3-0 pitch right down the pipe from Jake Hamilton, and the count now 3-1. 1 out, a runner at first, Colin Stack. He hit that little bloop single into center field. Conti called out on strikes. Stack with that same lead that he's been using since he's been down there at first. That pitch is once again right down the pipe, about thigh high to Connor Rule, and the count is now full at 3-2 on the Jammers catcher. Rule steps out and watches Anthony Barone go through his assortment of signs down there at third. Stack, as he has been, takes off this time, a little run and hit. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and a throw down, double play. Strike him out, throw him out, and the Jammers are done in their half of the second. No runs, a hit. No errors for the Pioneers, nobody left. We've completed 1.5. The score, Jammers 2, Pioneers nothing on the Jammers Baseball Network.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, I had one thing on my mind. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball every chance I could. When I was 6, I made it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn the signs of a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. Because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. I'm Paul George. Protect the ones you love. Spot a stroke F-A-S-T. Fast. Life is why. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
old running hit by head coach Anthony Barone. Off times results in an out when the hit doesn't happen, and Connor Rule was struck out, and then the throw down to second gets Colin Stack, and he is caught stealing now for the 5th time in 2017. Due up for the Pioneers in their half of the second, middle third of the order. Corey Blessing sent him down in order in the bottom of the first. It'll be Aubrey Major, Ayrton Schaefer, and Braden Combs to face Corey Blessing. Jammers lead at 2-0 here in the bottom of the second. Once again, don't forget about tomorrow night. You'll want to join us, $2 admission into Russell E. Dietrich Jr. Park on Red Bike and Blue Night. We'll have a celebration of male and female veterans, and several motorcycle groups will be there, plus surprises throughout the game. Join us for tomorrow night, 7:05, Onondaga Flames in town. And the first pitch to Aubrey Major is called strike one. No balls and 1 strike. Major with the severely open stance closes it up as the pitch comes in, and it misses outside, and the count's even at 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fans trying to get behind the Pioneers and get something started here in the bottom of the second. Line drive to right field. Almost right at Colin Stack. Had him played perfectly. Moves over to right center just a little bit and catches that line drive off the bat of Aubrey Major for the first out for the Pioneers in the bottom half of the second. It'll bring up the right fielder, number 14, Ayrton Schaefer. Ayrton Schaefer, one of the all-star selections for the Elmira Pioneers. Pops up the first pitch out of play. Ayrton Schaefer coming into the game hitting .298, his 27th game and 27th start for the Elmira Pioneers. Schaefer on the season, 31 hits, 104 at bats. No balls and 2 strikes. Corey Blessing working ahead of Ayrton Schaefer with Braden Combs on deck. So we've met the 4 participants from Elmira that'll be in the All-Star game. Another one fouled off by Schaefer. The count's still 0-2. And once again, the 4 offensive players, Marshall Gilbert, Troy Dixon, Ayrton Schaefer, and Brent Rodriguez. Pitching-wise, Grant Donahue and Houston Ross selected to participate in the PGCBL All-Star Game coming up Tuesday night. 0-2 pitch, high. Pulled down by Connor Rule to count 1-2. Can see some thunderheads way off in the distance, but they're well south of here. This game will be played without interruption. Swing, and the ball dropped by Connor Rule, but he picks it up and quickly tags Ayrton Schaefer just out of the batter's box, and that is out number 2 here for the Pioneers in the bottom of the second. That'll bring up first baseman Braden Combs. Braden Combs coming into the game hitting .280, his 21st game and 21st start for the Pioneers. 21 for 75 on the season. He scored 11 runs. Has 4 doubles and a couple of home runs to his credit as well. And the first pitch by Corey Blessing misses, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Nobody aboard, 2 out. Jammers up 2-0 in the bottom of the second. The pitch gets well around on that one and pulls it foul down the first base line. Does Combs, and the count is now even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike to the left-handed hitting first baseman tonight, Braden Combs. Corey Blessing's 1-1 pitch. Hit toward right field. Stack on his horse over near the line. Makes the catch to retire the side. 2 putouts in right field for Colin Stack, doing in the Pioneers, who go 3 up, 3 down. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. The score at the end of 2, Jammers 2, Pioneers nothing. More after this on the Jammers Baseball Network.
The
The odds of a young girl being discovered by an industry insider while singing to herself pumping gas. 1 in 300 million. The odds of a daughter of a clergyman from Severn, Maryland, spending 11 weeks at #1 on the U.S. singles charts. 1 in 19 million. The odds of going on to win 7 Grammy Awards. 1 in 1.4 million. The odds of selling over 40 million records. 1 in 800,000. The odds of this musician and performer having a child diagnosed with autism. 1 in 68. I'm Toni Braxton, and I encourage you to learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Autism Speaks. It's time to listen. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
It'll be the top of the third inning for the Jamestown Jammers. 9-1-2. Alex O'Donnell, Chris Conley, and Chris Estrada to face Jake Hamilton. And the Jammers coming in have played 7 games against Elmira, and they're 6-1 against them. But need I remind you, it's like Anthony Barone said as we were doing our interview before a game last season, it's not Stratomatic baseball. And now I've unleashed the hounds and have to explain what Stratomatic baseball is because no one knows anything other than video games these days. Stratomatic baseball was a game that was played on cards that had statistics about the players. And you made your lineups and things happen based on the statistical evidence that you had for those particular players. And that was what determined who won and lost the game. Well, of course, nowadays, as I say with the video games, some of that comes into play. I mean, they use those stats in the video games, but it was a lot different back then, and it's not Stratomatic baseball, it's baseball. We play a game, and sometimes those stats piled up over the course of a season, you can just throw them right out the window. Alex O'Donnell at the plate, an 0-2 count on him, and OD fouls that one off to make the count stay at 0-2. OD against the Elmira Pioneers is hitting 190, and on the season, ground ball up the middle, base hit. Leadoff single. Good one for OD, right up the middle. O'Donnell came into the game hitting 183, and he's helped his batting average out with that single. Back around at the top of the order, and Chris Conley, one of the 2 runs scored by the Jammers back in the first inning. Conley took a 4-pitch walk, and then Ben Brookover hit a 2-run homer to drive Chris home, make it 2-0. That's where we are right now. We're in the top of the third as Chris steps in with Alex O'Donnell down at first. OD with a sneaky little lead off the bag at first, and the first pitch to Conley misses, ball 1. Conley's on-base percentage, .580, slugging percentage, .588, an OPS of 1168. 1-0 pitch off speed delivery, and Chris was way out in front of that, and the count's evened up now at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, nobody out here in the top of the third. Alex O'Donnell with a leadoff single down at first. 1-1 pitch on its way from Hamilton. Inside, it hit him. Yes, it did. It tipped his forearm, his right forearm there in the left-hander's batter's box, and it's another one of those ways that he just gets on base, hit by a pitch. And I know his parents may be concerned. Don't worry about that one. That was just a tick. So, although I wouldn't have wanted to have been ticked by a pitch by Jake Hamilton, but in the general frame of things, Chris Conley goes down to first, and he is okay. The hit by pitch moves Alex O'Donnell up to second base and brings up Chris Estrada. He had a talk with Anthony Barone before stepping into the batter's box. Fly ball out to Aubrey Major in center on a 1-1 pitch for the first out of the first inning. the big RBI guy on the team with 31. Hits one high in the air, deep to left center, but the left fielder gets over. Not quite as deep as I thought it would be. Brett Vosick, first ball hitting. Chris Estrada flies out to Brett Vosick for the first out in the Jammers half of the third. And we come around to Ben Brookover, and I'm sure he'll not see the same kind of pitch that he saw from Jake Hamilton for the first pitch that he throws to him that he did back in the first. Ben was sitting fastball. He got the fastball and just really, yes, get out the jam. The toast popped up back there in the first. First pitch is a curveball, misses low inside, and it's a 1-ball, no-strike count to Ben. OD at second, Chris Conley down at first. Ben Brookover with a big hole between first and second as the second baseman Schinkel is guarding OD at second base, and that pitch just over the outside corner at the knees, and the count is even at 1. One out for the Jammers. With these 2 on board, you'd like to see him get at least 1 in this situation. It was 2 on and nobody out, now 2 on and 1 out, and the 1-1 to Ben. Off-speed pitch and a swing and a miss, and the count is now 1-2. Of course, the fans rooting for a little redemption after Brookover hit that 2-run shot back in the first. And the battle rolls on. Will Hamilton on a 1-2 pitch come with speed? I venture a guess he's going to go with a change. We'll see. OD with a leadoff second. And the pitch. Ben gets a piece of it, fouls it back, and stays alive at the plate with a 1-2 count. Jammers will head back the Southern Tier Expressway to Jamestown tonight and host the Onondaga Flames tomorrow night. By the way, I want to thank WWCB Radio, a part of the Jamestown Jammers Baseball Network, now live on their Stream 2, available on the internet. Fouled off by Ben. Count is still 1-2. Now the 6th pitch at the at-bat will be coming to Ben from Jake Hamilton. It's one of the things that Coach Barone preaches, and when you think about patient at-bats, you try to get the pitch count up on the guy. The 1-2, way outside, ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ben's fouled off a couple, so time for pitch number 7 from Jake Hamilton here in the 3rd inning. So far in the ball game, Hamilton has thrown 52, 34 strikes, 18 balls. 2-2 pitch. Ben swings and fouls it out of play down the first base side over the Pioneers dugout. Count still 2-2. 8th pitch of the at-bat coming. This will be pitch number 54 of the night for Jake Hamilton. 2-2 count, 2 on, 1 out. Hamilton from the belt, set, pitches, and Ben Brookover gets around on it and pulls it right beside Anthony Barone in the coach's box down the 3rd base line. Count still 2-2. Pitch number 9 of the at-bat coming now. See if Ben gets one he can do something with. Nope. High outside, ball 3. Count 3-2. When you have a 4 fouled off at-bat, as Brookover has had here, you know that Hamilton's in the strike zone and Ben's protecting the plate with those swings. Here it is, double-digit pitches in this at-bat. Pitch number 10 on its way. Both runners go, and Ben fouls it off. Still a full count on the Jammers' right-handed hitting first baseman, Ben Brookover. Ben Brookover with runners on base hitting .371, runners in scoring position .310. 3-2 the count. O'Donnell at second, Conley at first. 1 out. The payoff pitch from Hamilton. Ben hits this one in the air toward right field, playable by Ayrton. Schaefer makes the catch, and then he drops it when he transfers it from his glove to his hand, and that allows O.D., who probably would have gotten to third safely, to get up there with no problem at all. Ben Brookover is the second out of the inning, and now a third run of the game is standing 90 feet away in Alex O'Donnell. Skylar Valentine at the plate, leading the team in doubles with 16. He has 21 ribbies as well. Let's see if Skylar can make this happen and make it a 3-0 game. Valentine at the plate with runners on base, 377. That pitch is over the inside, corner taken by Skylar, strike one called. Nibbling at the corners, and that's how they got Valentine the first time around. Skylar with runners in scoring position, 375, but in scoring position with 2 out, 275, and he pops it up the right. Right fielder Schaefer over near the foul line makes the catch, and that'll do it for the Jammers in their half of the third. No runs across, a hit, no errors for the Pioneers, and a couple of guys left on base, an opportunity missed there. We have completed 2.5 at Dunfield in Elmira. The score, Jammers 2, Pioneers nothing on the Jammers Baseball Network. And we will be back with more right after this.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him opening his own clothing store at the age of 18? 1 in 138,000. Excited to be a part of pop culture, he packed for the big city. The odds of finding someone to invest in his vision? 1 in 4.5 million. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. I encourage you to learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Bottom of the third inning, the Elmira Pioneers will send the bottom third of the order up to face Corey Blessing. That'll be Jonathan Crimmen, Brent Vosick, and Blake Schinkel due up to face Corey. Has retired them in order the first and second inning. Going to try to repeat that here in the third. John Crimmen stepping to the plate, hitting .203 in his 20th game and 17th start, 12 for 59 on the season with 7 runs scored. The righty Corey Blessing's first pitch to him. On the outside corner, strike one called. No balls and a strike to the right-handed hitting DH tonight, Jonathan Crimmen. The 0-1 pitch is outside in the dirt, and the count's even at 1 now on Crimmen. Comparatively, between the two pitchers, Jake Hamilton threw 3, throwing 59 pitches. Blessing, starting this inning, had only thrown 25. The 1-1 pitch misses low, ball 2. The count now 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike. Crimmen, the leadoff batter for the Pioneers here in the bottom of the third. 2-1 pitch by Corey. Hit towards center field. Valentine paused for a second and then runs in and makes a sliding catch. That was destined to be an excuse me single, but not with Skylar Valentine in the field. Because if it's in the air anywhere between Ithaca and Binghamton, it's going to be caught by Skylar Valentine. Valentine with the catch, 1 away, and left fielder Brent Vosick at the plate. And the first pitch by Corey Blessing, that is over the outside corner, strike 1 called. No balls and a strike. 1 out and nobody aboard in the bottom of the third. The 0-1 pitch from Corey. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Left-handed hitter is Brett Vosick, who enters tonight's game with a .203 average, his 19th game and 18th start. 13 for 64 at the plate with 9 runs scored. And the 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, but it gets away from Connor Rule. And reaching safely is Brett Vosick. I did not happen to see if that hit in the dirt or not, but temporarily I'm going to call that a drop third strike and put him on base with a passed ball. So Vosick down at first. First runner of the game for the Pioneers, 1 out. Second baseman Blake Schinkel steps up. Schinkel hitting .276 on the season, his 22nd game and 22nd start. First pitch to him, misses outside, ball 1. Schinkel on the season, 21 for 76. He's scored 18 times. He's hit 4 doubles to boot. 1 ball, no strikes. Corey Blessing, the writing on the hill with the stretch pitch. Outside ball 2. 2-0 the count to Blake Schinkel. Connor Rule behind the plate tonight. Chris Conley appearing as the DH after having to take a couple of games off. 2 balls, no strikes. Blessing's pitch, high, ball 3. 3-0 the count. So after things had been moving along nicely and quite frankly should be 2 out and nobody aboard, it's now runner at first and a 3-0 count on Schinkel, ready to turn it back around to the top of the order in Rodriguez. 3 balls, no strikes. Will Schinkel take the bat off his shoulder? Really not. He takes strike 1. The count now 3-1. Has a look down at Mr. Hill, the head coach of the Elmira Pioneers, down in the third base coach's box. Takes a look over at first. And Brett Vosick over there. Popped up in the infield. Blessing's calling for it, and then Rule calls him off and makes the catch right in front of the pitcher's mound, and Vosick has to scramble back to first base, but he gets back safely, and there are now 2 away. Vosick at first, and Brett Rodriguez will step to the plate. Hit a slow ground ball that kind of died on the grass in the infield, but Alex O'Donnell up to the task. Charged, picked that baby up, and made a good throw to Ben Brookover to retire Rodriguez back in the first inning. We're in the third now, and the Jammers lead the game by a score of 2-0. Corey's first pitch is high to Rodriguez. He takes ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Rodriguez against the Jamestown Jammers, hitting just .227 in 6 previous games. 1-0 pitch, outside high, ball 2. 2-0 the count. Fans trying to rally these Elmira Pioneers. Brett Rodriguez out of Queensbury, New York, attending Wofford. Just finished up his freshman year there. The next one misses, ball 3. So Corey having a bit of trouble here with the strike zone on Brett Rodriguez. 3 balls, no strikes. 2 out, runner at first, Vosick. 3-0 pitch over the PGCBL outside corner, and the fans will ride the ump about that. Count now 3-1. Three balls, 1 strike. A 2-0 Jammers lead. Corey Blessing trying to keep it that way. The 3-1 pitch, big cut and a miss, and a throw down to second by Rule was in time, but it hit in the infield grass and took a high hop on Jimmy Standahar, and he couldn't get the tag down. Give Brett Vosick a stolen base, his 2nd of the season. So Vosick at second with 2 out and a full count now on Brett Here's the payoff pitch by Corey Blessing, high outside. Ball 4. Rodriguez down at first now. Vosick at second. 2 outs, and Troy Dixon will step up. Dixon made the second out of the first inning when he hit a fly ball out to Colin Stack in right field. See what he can do this time around against Corey Blessing with 2 out and 2 on. 2-0 Jammers with the lead. First pitch by Blessing. Dixon hits it high in the air, deep to right center, but Valentine has a beat on it, and he just covers that ground, and it looks like it's effortless out there. It is the darndest thing to watch, and it's a great thing to watch from my perspective and anyone that's a Jamestown Jammers fan. Caught by Skylar Valentine, and the inning is over for the Pioneers. They get no runs, no hits, no errors on the Jammers, but 2 runners left on base via a walk and a drop third strike that allowed a runner to reach. We have now completed 3 at Dunfield in Elmira. The Jammers 2, Pioneers nothing on the Jammers Baseball Network.
What is that?
Oh, that? It's my time machine.
Does it work?
Sure, just hit this button.
Whoa, dinosaurs. Cool.
Or we can go here.
Hey, that's Napoleon.
Oui.
Or we can go to the future.
Wow, hey, you have this nice house. Do I have a nice house?
No, you didn't save any money. Always spent it on vacations and stuff.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and correct that bad habit.
Yep.
Okay, the time machine is not real, but the saving thing is. Get in the habit of putting some of your money in savings each week through a 401k, savings account, or financial investments. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy tips on saving, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
What does this crazy little button do?
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Back at Dunfield in Elmira, New York, Jammers with a 2-0 lead heading to the top of the 4th inning. And for the Jammers here in the 4th, Jimmy Standahar will try to get things started. Jimmy, a strikeout victim for the final out of the first inning. First pitch to him, he bunts at it and fouls it right down the path that leads straight to the Pioneers' dugout, strike 1. No balls and 1 strike on the Jammers' second baseman, Jimmy Standahar. If you weren't with us earlier, Jimmy's one of the All-Star selections from the Jammers. Going to play in the PGCBO All-Star game. The next pitch is low, and the count's even at 1-1 to Jimmy Standahar. All-Star break in the PGCBL coming up Monday and Tuesday. 1-1 pitch is high to Standahar, and the count is now 2-1. Jimmy emphasizing the height of that pitch by raising his elbows out as it came in pretty close to him. 2 balls, 1 strike. Hamilton's pitch is fouled back and out of play, and the count is still at 2-2 on Jimmy Standahar. Standahar, Stack, and Conti due up to face Jake Hamilton here in the Jammers half of the 4th. 2 runs on 3 hits for the Jammers, and a little line drive pops out of the glove of the second baseman as he dives, but he picks it up and throws out Jimmy Standahar. Great play by Blake Schinkel at second base. He had it in his glove, and he was making a diving stop, and he was able to get it, but then when he hit the ground, it popped out. But a quick reaction by Schinkel, and they get Standahar for the first out here in the top of the 4th. It'll bring up Colin Stack. You may remember Colin had that little excuse me single to start things off there in the second inning. Jammers unable to get him in, though, as he was part of a strike him out, throw him out, double play. Caught stealing to end the inning. The first pitch to him, strike 1. The 0-1 from Hamilton. hit high in the air toward right field, but it's kind of right at Ayrton Schaefer, the right fielder. He catches it, and Colin Stack is the second out of the inning. 2 up, 2 down for the Jammers, leading to John Conti. Jammers helping Jake Hamilton out at a somewhat elevated pitch count, but he's now sitting at 67 pitches here in the 4th inning. Stack hitting that fly ball on an 0-1 pitch. Conti watches the first pitch over the outside corner, strike 1. Jammers after the All-Star break gets started against Geneva at 7:05 at Russell E. Dietrich Jr. Park. Pitch is way outside to Conti, and the count is even at 1. John Conti enjoys playing against the Pioneers. He's hitting .375 in 5 games prior to tonight against them. Has a cut and fouls one back, and the count 1-2 now on John Conti, left-handed hitting left fielder of the Jammers. John in his first at-bat called out on strikes on a 2-2 pitch. It's 1-2 here, and the pitch way outside, ball 2. Well, let's see if Marshall Gilbert and Jake Hamilton combine to come up with the same solution, or at least attempt to get that on John Conti here in the top of the 4th. 2-2 pitch off speed, and John drills it in the hole between first and second and into right field. He's down at first with a 2-out single, and Connor Rule will step to the plate now. Connor part of the strike him out, throw him out deal, where he struck out for the second out of the second, and then Stack was picked off trying to steal. See if he can keep this inning going. Jammers up 2-0. Of course, would like to add on here. Jake Hamilton, after giving up the 2-run homer to Ben Brookover, has silenced the Jammers as far as the runs go. There goes Conti, and do they have him picked off? The throw to first and then down to second. Nope, Conti steals second. Throw went from Hamilton to Combs, and the throw down to second base, and John had it beaten easily, and he steals second base. Runner in scoring position now for Connor Rule, and he's yet to see a pitch. First one comes to him right down the pipe, taken by Connor, strike 1. Connor Rule at the plate, the right-handed hitting catcher, that is, of the Jammers. John Conti at second. That one's inside and gets away from the catcher. Marshall Gilbert moving up to third on the pass ball to the catcher. Marshall Gilbert is John Conti. Now a run just 90 feet away, and boy, you got to take advantage of this one, don't you think? Stolen base and a pass ball puts him up at third. 2 out, a 1-1 count on Rule. The pitch, inside and low again. 2-1 the count. Connor Rule at the plate for the Jammers. Hits one foul down the first base line, and Hayden Carter is going to field it. Tosses it to the Pioneers dugout. Connor with runs on base 600. Connor Rule, and that'll do it for the Jammers in their half of the 4th. No runs, a hit, no errors for the Pioneers, and a runner left. We've completed 3.5 in the score. Jammers 2, Pioneers nothing. More coming up after this on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Pennswood.net Classifieds offers the freshest, most recent classified ads available with over 1,500 new ads each day. If you're looking for a reliable used vehicle, check out the multiple ads daily on Pennswood.net Classifieds. From cars, trucks, RVs, and motorcycles, you can scan the ads at Pennswood.net at any time of the day or night and find something that fits your needs. Looking for household items, student housing, or even a new pet? Pennswood.net Classifieds has it. Pennswood.net, where you can buy, sell, or trade locally.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a left.
You are not going to.
Then what you're
going
to do is turn onto Marcy Avenue.
Just broke up
and go past the first
apparently
3
she's
lights
happy
and then
about
take
it.
the next left.
I don't really
then
think
drive 5
she's
more
happy,
blocks
but
and you should be
who
there.
am I to judge, right?
Park on the
Anyway,
right.
That's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Sharing with you on the Baseball Network, WCB, Stream 2. We're going to have some games for you on the radio. Stay tuned. We'll keep you informed about those. But the sun has disappeared from view. I don't think anybody is complaining about that. Numbers 3, 4, and 5 due up for the Pioneers here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Marshall Gilbert, Aubrey Major, and Ayrton Schaefer, 2 All-Stars included in that lineup, Gilbert and Schaefer. Gilbert, a strikeout victim on a 1-2 pitch for the final out of the 1st inning, leads things off here in the bottom of the 4th. Jammers up 2-0, first pitch to Gilbert. Gets by Connor Rule, actually deflected on a low pitch in the dirt, and going over is the home plate ump to pick that up, ball 1. Counts 1-0 on Marshall Gilbert. Blessings 1-0 pitch. Down the middle but low, ball 2. Corey slaps his thigh with his glove in disappointment there. 2-0 pitch. Line drive, right center field, base hit. It's in the gap. Going over to cut it off is Colin Stack, and boy, does it slow down when it hits that grass. Stack bobbles it and throws into second. O'Donnell with the tag, but Gilbert, keeping an eye on how things were going there in the outfield, saw the ball scored away from Colin Stack, and he moved up. That is a single and an error. Charge to Colin Stack. That'll bring up center fielder Aubrey Major at the plate for a second trip. Hit a line drive out to Stack for the first out of the second. Pioneers would like to do something here with a runner at second and nobody out. Trailing 2-0. And the pitch. Misses inside, ball 1. Last night, the Elmira Pioneers left 17 runners on base in their game last night. Tough one to figure when you're the head coach. But that's what happened. 1-0 pitch, misses outside, ball 2, the count 2-0. Corey Blessing here in the 4th. It's been a developing trend here since the start of the game as Corey has been working behind more often here in the 3rd and 4th. 2-0 the count here. 2-0 pitch. Major checks his swing, started to go through, checked it early. The count is 3 balls and no strikes. Gilbert at second, nobody out here in the bottom of the 4th. Corey Blessing, the righty on the hill for the Jammers, ready with a 3-0 pitch. Taking all the way is Aubrey Major, and it's strike 1 called over the inside corner to the tall, imposing left-handed hitting center fielder. He's also given us fits on the mound, Aubrey Major. 3-1 pitch. Connor Rule thought he had strike 2, but the umpire thought differently So now there are runners at first and second with nobody out, and a big opportunity here for the Elmira Pioneers as one of their other all-stars, Ayrton Schaefer, steps to the plate for the second time in tonight. He backs up as that one comes inside. Ball one. 1 ball, no strikes. Brookover and Estrada in on the grass. Standahar and O'Donnell pretty much at a regular position at first and short and second, that is. Swing and a miss by Schaefer on that pitch, and the count now 1-1. Estrada also well off the bag at third and now backs up even with the bag at third. Brookover backs up as well with the count at 1-1. 1-1 pitch. Fouled back by Schaefer, and now Corey Blessing in charge of this at-bat with a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Jammers scored 2 in the top of the first inning when Ben Brookover laced a 2-run homer to left center field here at Dunn Field. 1-2 count in the pitch. Outside in the dirt and a good block by Connor Rule. Nobody can advance. Count 2-2. I'm sure Aubrey Major would like to run. You check the numbers on catcher Marshall Gilbert as far as stolen bases goes. He has none. This one's fouled back to the press box area. Count remains even at 2 on Ayrton Schaefer. Comparatively, Aubrey Major has 2 stolen bases, so neither guy really much of a base-stealing threat here. 2-2 the count. Corey Blessing trying to get Schaefer at the plate. The pitch. Line drive into left field, base hit. Coming over to field it is John Conti trying to score as Gilbert. The throw comes in, and it's too late, and we'll turn down the mics because of these sirens they play here. Well, actually much shorter than what they normally do here, and it normally blows me out of the box with just my, well, I have the headphones covering my head, and it's still awfully loud. RBI single by Schaefer. Major stops at second. Gilbert comes in to score from second. And the score is now 2-1 in favor of the Jammers. Still nobody out and still 2 on. First baseman Braden Combs at the plate hit a fly ball out. Down the right field line, bunts at the first pitch and fouls it darn near all the way up to the press box area. Strike 1. No balls and a strike to the left-handed hitting first baseman Braden Combs. Combs at the plate for a second time tonight. As I said, he hit a fly ball out caught by Stack before. And now Corey Blessing calls time to tie his right cleat back on. And he's got that all secure now and has the glove back on. Puts the ball in it. Takes a look back at Major at second base. Estrada well in on the grass at third. Brookover playing just behind the runner at first and now starts to charge in. They try a pickoff play at second and Major gets back. Jammers have had their share of pickoffs over the course of the season. A lot of them picking off guys at first base, but they've had some pickoffs with guys at second too. 0-1 the count on Combs. Corey Blessing with the 0-1 pitch. Cut and a miss, strike 2. Blessing ahead of Combs now. No balls, 2 strikes. 2 runs, 4 hits, and an error for the Jammers. 1 run, 2 hits, and no errors for the Pioneers. 0-2 pitch on its way. Grounded weakly and past the pitcher, Corey Blessing, and continues to roll to center field. It stops before it ever gets there, but alertly, Aubrey Major comes in to score. It's 2-2. Well, amazingly, the siren did not go off, and so therefore you're spared that noise if you're listening at home. They charge an error to Corey Blessing on the play. It was a slow roller back to the mound. Corey thought he had it. He didn't. And then O'Donnell and Standahar converged on the ball. Neither one of them were able to pick it up. It just kept rolling, and Major said, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to head home." And he scored. 2-2. Still 2 on, and nobody out. And John Crimmen at the plate pops it up. Second baseman Jimmy Standahar will catch that for the first out here in the bottom of the 4th. Not nearly as dramatic as a 2-run homer, but the Elmira Pioneers have tied it up. 2-2. Single by Gilbert. Walk by Major, single by Schaefer to bring in Gilbert. And then with the error, that allowed Major to score. And we are tied at 2. Brett Vosick at the plate with 1 out and 2 on. And the first pitch to him misses low, ball 1. Vosick reached on a drop third strike, and then the ball got by Connor Rule. Was down at first safely and stole his first base of the season back in the 3rd. 1-0 the count on him, and the 1-0 pitch. This one's fouled down the left field line and out of play, and the count is now 1-1. Make that his second stolen base of the season. He had 1 coming into the game. Vosick at the plate for the Pioneers, with runners in scoring position, hitting 174, 235 with runners on base. The next pitch by Blessing misses, ball 2, and the count now 2-1. A good stop by Connor Rule. Keeps the runners at their current positions. That'd be Schaefer at second and Combs at first. 2 balls, 1 strike. The pitch by Corey Blessing. Ground ball toward the hole. Cut off by Ben Brookover to O'Donnell for 1. Back to Corey Blessing. Covering the bag at first. Reaching safely as Brett Vosick. The force out comes on Braden Combs, and Ayrton Schaefer moves to 3rd. Combs forced out, 3-6. 2 gone now. Runners at the corners. Vosick at first on the fielder's choice. And down at third base, it's Ayrton Schaefer. Schaefer, one of the 2 hits in the inning for the Pioneers. Go ahead run 90 feet away, in the first pitch to Blake Schinkel. Second baseman misses, ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Schinkel is the 7th batter to come to the plate here in the inning. Small ball being played out by the Pioneers. Ground ball down the third baseline. Backhanded by Estrada. Throws to first, and it hits in the dirt and gets by Ben Brookover. 1-1 was already in to score. Moving up to third, it was Vosick. And then up to second on the overthrow, Blake Schinkel. Jammers with another error here in the bottom of the 4th inning. (3-2) Elmira leads. They've scored 3 in the 4th in some of the most unusual ways. Jammers have been doing very well fielding. and throwing guys out, but that time Chris Estrada and Ben Brookover normally pretty good at digging those out, but it took a weird hop when it hit in the dirt, which is extremely wet. This should be the final out of the inning. Colin Stack comes in on the fly ball off the bat of Brett Rodriguez. And finally, the side has been retired, but the Pioneers score 3 runs. They do that on 2 hits, and they charge 4 errors to the Jammers here in the bottom of the 4th inning. The score now at the end of 4. Pioneers 3, Jammers 2. Jammers half of the 5th is up next. It'll be right here on the Jamestown Jammers Baseball Network. Happy you could join us on this Thursday evening.
This is why you work so hard to pay the mortgage. Because home is more than 4 walls and a roof. It's that porch swing on a summer night. It's pajamas with feet and everybody over for Sunday dinner. And that old stuffed chair in the living room you just can't get rid of. This is why you work a second job. This is why you learn to fix things yourself, so you could save on repairs. Because home is your place, your memories, your family sleeping in their own beds at night. And that is why we want to help. We are making home affordable, a free government resource that can make paying the mortgage easier. And now even more options are available. Call 888-995-HOPE today. That's 888-995-HOPE. Or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov.
Good night, Mama.
This is why. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
Elmira Pioneers up by a score of 3-2. We're into the top of the 5th inning. Jammers trying to work their way back. Alex O'Donnell was up back in the 3rd inning leading off, and he had a single. Grounds this one foul down the 3rd base line, and a nice, almost barehanded grab by Anthony Barone. Had it in his hand, and it popped out. It was hit reasonably hard down that 3rd base line. Strike 1 to OD. Jammers back there in the 3rd ended up getting the first 2 guys on and were never able to do anything with them. O'Donnell singled, and then Conley was hit by a pitch, unable to get them in. 0-2 the count on O'Donnell here, the leadoff batter in the top of the 5th. Jammers need to get somebody on base to get something started here against these Pioneers who have taken the lead at 3-2 in a swing and a miss. And a good catch of that ball by Marshall Gilbert leads to the first out of the Jammers half of the 5th. Turning it back around to the top of the order, and Chris Conley. Conley hit by a pitch in his previous at-bat. Chris Conley against the Elmira Pioneers, hitting .412. One out, nobody aboard here in the 5th. First pitch over the outside corner taken by Chris, and strike 1 called. No balls and a strike to the left-handed hitting DH tonight, Chris Conley. Battered and bruised. We had the day off Monday, and the first 2 games of this road trip, Chris was given those games off. Said he was ready to go tonight, and he's in the lineup. Taking that pitch for a ball in the count of 1-1, and Jake Hamilton's tail of his jersey is completely out on the backside. 1-1 pitch outside in the dirt, and the count's 2-1. Jake tucks in the front of his jersey. That's not the problem, Jake. It's on the other side. 2 balls, 1 strike. 1 out and nobody aboard. Hamilton's 2-1. Misses high, ball 3. 3-1. Conway's been at the plate 2 times, been on base 2 times, once walking and scoring on the Brookover 2-run homer, and then hit by a pitch. 3-1 the count here, in the pitch. Hit high in the air. Center fielder Major basically stands in place, gauges where that ball is going, and is able to make about 2 steps only toward left field and make the catch of the fly ball off the bat of Chris Conley for the second out here in the top of the fifth. 2 up, 2 down, and that'll bring up Chris Estrada. Estrada, in case you didn't hear, is one of the all-star selections for the Jamestown Jammers in the PGCBL All-Star Game, representing the West squad. 2 out, nobody aboard for Chris. First pitch, high outside, ball 1. Chris with a couple of fly ball outs, 1 to Major back in the first inning, and then 1 to Vosick in left. First out of the first, and the first out of the third. That pitch is right down the pipe, taken by Chris, and the count's even at 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. As the speed of these games just seems to roll right along, you got to take advantage of every situation to pop up that's going to be playable. Called by Hamilton in foul territory. The pitcher makes the catch of the pop-up off the bat of Chris Estrada, and the Jammers go 1-2-3 here in the top of the fifth inning. No runs, hits, or errors, and nobody left. We have completed 4.5 in the score. Pioneers 3, Jammers 2. Here on the Jammers Baseball Network.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Marshall, Gilbert, and Aubrey Major. Dixon 0 for 2 in the night. Gilbert is 1 for 2, scoring a run 1 inning ago. And Gilbert, sorry, that was Gilbert's numbers. Major walked and scored an inning ago. He is 0 for 1 on the night. Corey Blessing, trying to buckle down here, had trouble with the strike zone there in the fourth, and that led to some of the problems. Jammers didn't exactly play well in the field either. First pitch, Troy Dixon squared the bunt, pulled back, and watched that pitch go well into the right-hander's batter's box for ball 1. Dixon, the left-handed hitter, and the righty on the hill, Corey Blessing. Next pitch, inside low, ball 2. Dixon against the Jammers in 3 games has no hits in 10 at-bats. He has scored a run because he walked. That pitch misses low, ball 3, and he's pretty close to walking again. And time for me to check that Jammers bullpen. Nothing going on down there right now, although one of the Jammers players is adjusting his pants. TMI, man, hey, I looked down to see what was going on, and I told you what's going on. Next pitch by Blessing in there in the count 3-1. Inside high, ball 4. So Corey, after having a pretty impressive start to this game, has suddenly had problems with the strike zone, and unusually Corey Blessing, out of the 74 pitches he's thrown so far tonight, 42 of those are strikes and 32 of those are balls, and that's an unusual strike to ball ratio for Corey Blessing. Marshall Gilbert steps up with a runner at first, Dixon, and nobody out. As I had said, Gilbert 1 for 2. He came in to score. He singled and moved up to second base on an error charge to Colin Stack when he cut the ball off in right center, and good alert base running by Gilbert got him up to second base. First pitch to him, a strike, 0-1 the count. Corey has a look at Dixon at first, comes to the plate, high, counts even at 1. 1 ball and 1 strike to the right-handed hitting all-star catcher, Marshall Gilbert. Dixon on the season with 6 stolen bases, has not been caught to date. 1-1 the count, and a quick toss over to first, and diving back in head first, Troy Dixon is safe. Jammers started the scoring back in the first inning with a 2-run homer off the bat of Ben Brookover. And then 3 runs came across an inning ago for the Pioneers. They lead at 3-2, line drive down the left field line into the Jammers bullpen. And there is activity now in the Jammers pen. Matt Cross is catching. And throwing for the Jammers is Nolan Hunt. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count to Gilbert. Dixon with just pretty much a standard lead off the bag there at first. And there goes Dixon, and there's the swing by Gilbert, and he fouls it off. Little run and hit. Doesn't pay off when the batter fouls it off. Gives Dixon a workout as he returns to the first base bag. Gilbert now steps back in the batter's box. Starts out with an open stance and then closes up when the pitch comes to the plate as he lifts that leg. Over the outside corner, strike 3 call. Nice pitch by Corey Blessing. Excellent work there on Gilbert. 1 gone, runner at first. Brings up Aubrey Major for a 3rd trip to the plate. Line drive out the Stack back in the 2nd. He then walked and scored an inning ago. Has a runner down at first in Dixon with 1 out. Aubrey Major against the Jammers in 2017, hitting .308. This is his 5th game against us. Boy, was that a dandy throw by Corey Blessing. Right on the back of Troy Dixon diving back to first base, but Troy was back to the bag safely. Corey Blessing pitching from the stretch, comes set, makes another toss over, and it gets away from Brookover. Bounces off the perimeter fencing. Dixon's around third, around second, that is, on his way to third, and a throw over by Brookover to Chris Estrada's down the line toward home plate. An error to Corey Blessing on the throw over to first, allowing Dixon to get up to third base. Aubrey Major has yet to see a pitch, and Dixon's moved from first to third. Jammers picking up what the scoreboard says is our 5th error of the night. And after the Jammers had been doing so well with fielding percentage, suddenly things have gone awry here tonight at Elmira. Infield comes in to just shy of the grass all the way around. Runner at third, Dixon. 1 out, the pitch. First pitch seen by Aubrey Majors, an off-speed delivery, and he cuts and misses at that one for strike 1. No balls and 1 strike. Oh, 1 the count, and the pitch by Corey. Misses outside low, and the count's even at 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. After repeated throws over to first, 1 gets away. And Aubrey Major finally gets to see some coming to the plate. The count even at 1. High chopper, Brookover tries to get it. He can't. It ends up in right field. Stack comes in. Major makes a wide turn at first and puts on the brakes and goes back to the bag as Stack was on that quickly. RBI single for Aubrey Major, and it's now 4-2 in favor of the Pioneers. High chopper over the head of Ben Brookover. Runner at first, one out. And that'll bring up Ayrton Schaefer. Schaefer singled, stretched one down the left field line back in the fourth. Hits this one high in the air toward center. Valentine drifts a couple of steps over toward right center and makes the catch. Schaefer, first ball swinging, flies out for the second out of the inning. And of course, no chance for Major to advance. Two gone now, and Braden Combs, the first baseman, comes to the plate. Reached on an error, charged to, I believe, Corey Blessing back there in the fourth. Hit a slow roller back to the pitcher. Corey couldn't get it. It kept rolling. O'Donnell and Standahar both converged on the ball, and it still kept rolling, and Aubrey Major came in to score. Major down at first, and a toss over by Corey Blessing to send him back. Braden Combs trying to keep this inning going for the Pioneers. First pitches in the dirt, ball one. One ball, no strikes. With that pitch now, Corey Blessing is up to 84 on the night. Jake Hamilton, 87 through 5. The pitchers may be identical by the time this inning is over, but Hamilton will have a 2-run lead if Corey can get out of this. Not fearing the fact that he threw one away, decides to make a good toss over to first and send Aubrey Major diving back to the bag at first. 1-0 the count on Combs. And the pitch. Over the outside corner, and the PGCBO outside corner for the lefties there. Counts even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Major at first, 2 out. 1 run in the inning for the Pioneers. Just misses inside, and the count now 2-1. If Blessing is able to get Combs, I submit to you the possibility he'll come out for the 6th. If he does not get him, we'll see what happens. Fouled back by Combs over the home plate grandstand, and it hits the tin roof at the back part, well behind me. Counts even at 2 now on Braden Combs. See if Corey can buckle down here and get him to cut at 1 for strike 3. Count even at 2. 2 out. Runner at first, Major. Corey Blessing on the mound, comes set. 2-2 pitch. It's in the hole between short and third and into left field. John Conti is up with it. Little bit of a bobble when he gloved it, but recovered quickly. Major could not move any further than second base. Let's see if anything happens with Corey here. Nope, no one headed out to the mound. So runners at first and second, and 2 out for John Crimmin. Crimmin 0 for 2. Flied out to Valentine, first out of the third, and then popped up to Jimmy Standahar for the first out of the fourth. And I am mistaken, as Anthony Barone is out of the dugout for the Jammers, generally indicating that there will be a change in pitching, but not necessarily, as he is talking to Corey Blessing. And the warming by Hunt has ceased in the Jammers bullpen, so it would appear as though it's up to Corey here at this particular point. Sure, Anthony's checking to see if he's up to the task. Takes his time, kicks dirt around the rubber. Home plate umpire started out, but Anthony heads back to the Jammers dugout before he gets out of that home plate circle area. Here we go. 4-2 Pioneers lead. They scored 3 an inning ago and have brought one across here in the fifth rather, to lead at 4-2. Crimmin at the plate, 2 on, 2 out. Corey Blessing with the first pitch to Crimmin. Inside high, ball 1. Crimmin 0 for 2. Obviously behooving Corey to get him here at the plate. 1-0 pitch. Ground ball over the head of Brian Hill, who's, if they actually had lines drawn and umpires wanted to enforce coaches' boxes, Brian Hill, comparatively to a lot of third base coaches, is about in the back pocket of the right-handed hitting DH Jonathan Crimmin. He's that far down the line. That's the way he coaches at third. 1-1 the count. 2 out, 2 on. Corey Blessing with a 1-1. Popped up toward right. Standahar out. Stack coming in. Stack calls him off and makes the catch, and that'll do it for the Pioneers in their half of the fifth. But they score another. Leadoff walk to Troy Dixon, comes back to Hunt. Corey Blessing and the Jammers a run across. They did that on 2 hits. There was an error to the Jammers, and there were 2 runners left on base. Heading to the top of the 6th, Jammers need to get something going here. The score at the end of 5. Elmira 4, Jammers 2 on the Jammers Baseball Network.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
The youthful Pioneer fans were just out running, just off the skin of the infield and the outfield grass in the opposite direction of what you would normally run the bases. They had some fun. And the Jammers here in the top of the 6th send up Ben Brookover, Skylar Valentine, and Jimmy Standahar to hopefully make some fun of our own here. First pitch to Ben misses outside, ball 1. 2-run homer for Ben back in the first inning, driving Chris Conley in. Jammers took a 2-0 lead, held that till the bottom of the 4th. When the Pioneers scored 3, they added 1 there in the 5th, and an off-speed pitch that has been taking a big healthy cut and missing it way out in front, and the count is even at 1 on Ben. Ben headed to the All-Star game on Tuesday next week. 1-1 pitch, misses low, and the count now 2-1. Corey Blessing exiting in the 5th inning with 91 pitches. Jake Hamilton has just thrown his 90th here in the 6th. 2-1 the count. Pitch number 91 for Hamilton's fouled off by Ben Brookover, and the count's even at 2. I would venture a guess. I'd take a look down into the Jammers bullpen to see if, and Nolan Hunt appears to be loosening again, throwing to Matt Cross. Isaac Meza making his way down toward the Jammers dugout. Brookover fouls off a 2-2 pitch to stay alive at the plate. Ben also with a sac fly to right back in the 3rd inning, moving a runner up, but the move up of the runner produced no results. Line drive, center field base hit. Ben Brookover has his second hit of the night. Not nearly as noisy as the first, but a great way to start the top of the sixth for the Jammers. Enter Skylar Valentine. 0 for 2 in the night. Struck out swinging for the second out of the first and hit a fly ball out to the right fielder Ayrton Schaefer for the final out of the third. Skylar Valentine against the Elmira Pioneers, coming into the game after playing 7 against them with an average of .370. See what he can do here with Brookover at first and nobody out. Even with the bag at third, Troy Dixon, first pitch, misses outside, ball 1 to Skylar. Dixon now backs up, playing a standard third base position. Braden Combs holding Ben Brookover at first. Yes, Ben does have some stolen bases in 2017. He's stolen 4, been caught twice. 1-0 the count on Valentine. And Hamilton throws a courtesy toss over to first. Ben's back. If the Jammers have anything up the sleeve, they're not revealing it to the Pioneers, as it's another courtesy toss by Hamilton. Valentine's not showing anything, and Brookover's not really showing an intent to steal at this point. 1-0 pitch to the plate this time, high outside, ball 2. Counts 2-0. Hamilton working into the sixth. Blessing has completed 5. Inside on the bat handle, swung on by Skylar and fouled back to the home plate grandstand. Counts even at 2. Or make that 2-1. Sorry about that. 2 balls, 1 strike. Brookover at first, nobody out. We're in the top of the sixth. Jammers trailing 4-2. 2-1 pitch. Way outside, ball 3. The count now 3-1. And there is activity down in the Pioneers bullpen. That pitch misses outside low, ball 4. Appears as though Alvin Vega is warming up in the Pioneers pen, if I'm reading that number correctly. Runners at first and second, 2 on, nobody out. Jammers need a pair to tie this up. Jimmy Standahar, a guy you like to have at the plate in these situations. So far 0 for 2 tonight. Jimmy came in the leading hitter on the Jammers team with a .400 average. Dixon in on the grass at third, and a bunt by Standahar. Off the mound, Hamilton bobbles it, throws, and just gets Jimmy Standahar, but it moves Valentine and Brookover up. Brookover just 90 feet away now at third, and Valentine at second. Nice sacrifice bunt by Jimmy Standahar. Enter a little small ball into the equation for the Jammers. Time now to capitalize on this. And hopefully Colin Stack is the guy to do that for the Jammers. So far tonight, Colin Stack is 1 for 2. Single back in the second. A little excuse me kind of swing that went right out into center field. And then he was caught stealing and erased from the base paths in a strike him out, throw him out situation there in the second. Then hit a fly ball out to the right fielder Schaefer for the second out of the fourth. And there's going to be a conference between catcher Marshall Gilbert and tonight's starter Jake Hamilton. They met about halfway. Ump started out, just got to the edge of home plate, and their conversation was done at Dunn Field. 2 on, 1 out. First pitch to Stack is inside low, ball 1. Stack giving advice down the third base line to Brookover as He was blocked from seeing if that got away from catcher Gilbert. It did not. Stack holding up the stay put stop sign for Ben. 1-0 pitch. Inside low, ball 2. Hamilton now having problems with the strike zone. And for Hamilton, that was pitch number 101. 2 balls, no strikes. 2 on, 1 out. In the dirt, ball 3. Hamilton gave up a leadoff single to Ben Brookover. Skylar Valentine walked on a 3-1 pitch. Jimmy Standahar with the sacrifice bunt to move both guys up. It's where we stand. Valentine at second, Brookover at third. And the 3-0 pitch to Stack. He slaps at it and fouls it down the first baseline, down toward the Pioneers' bullpen area. And that is Alvin Vega that's loosening for the Pioneers. 3-1 the count on Stack. The pitch by Hamilton. Inside, ball 4. It squirts away from Marshall Gilbert all the way to the home plate grandstand. That allows Ben Brookover to score and Skylar Valentine to move to third, and it's now 4-3. Stack down at first with a walk. Jammers get a run across with only 1 hit. Here comes Brian Hill out of the dugout. John Conti due up next with Valentine at third and Stack at first, and the Jammers hopefully in a position to tie this thing up. Hill on the mound with his starter. Going to leave him in for one more batter, it would appear, as Conti comes to the plate. Then again, maybe not. Yep, he had started toward the dugout and then stopped, turned around, and continued to talk to Jake Hamilton. Perhaps a cooling off period provided by the head coach of the Elmira Pioneers, Brian Hill. He's back in the dugout. Hamilton still on the hill. Runners at first and third and 1 out, and John Conti stepping in, who's 1 for 2 on the night. Picked that gap between first and second and singled in the 4th, stole second, and then got the third on a pass ball. We could not get him in the 4th. Hits one down the first baseline foul. Knocked him out, down, that is, by Hayden Carter in the first base coach's box. Strike 1 to John. Four runs, 4 hits for Elmira. 3 runs, 5 hits, but the biggie, 5 errors so far tonight for the Jammers. There goes the runner Stack, and a ground ball over the head of the pitcher Hamilton, fielded by the shortstop. Throws to first to get Conti, but Valentine comes in to score, and we're tied at 4. Stack at second. Conti retired 6-3. And Connor Rule with an opportunity here with a runner in scoring position. Stack at second. And 2 out. First pitch to Rule right down the pipe from Jake Hamilton, strike 1. Half of the 6th, but 2 runs come across for the Jammers. They did that on 1 hit. No errors for the Pioneers, and a runner left on base. We have completed 5.5, and we're tied. It's Jammers 4 and the Pioneers 4 on the Jammers Baseball Network.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel?
Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
It is lefty Nolan Hunt that comes in out of the bullpen for the Jammers to replace Corey Blessing as we go to the bottom half of the sixth inning for the Elmira Pioneers. Corey Blessing's night as follows: 5 innings pitched, 25 batters faced, gave up 4 runs on 4 hits, walked 3, struck out 4, 91 pitches, 54 strikes, and 37 balls for Corey Blessing on this night. Nolan Hunt, coming into the game for the Jammers, has a record of 2-0, a 1.20 ERA. This is his 12th appearance. He's thrown 15 innings to this point, given up 3 runs on 10 hits, only 2 of those runs earned. He's walked 5 and struck out 18, facing 58 batters. Opponents averaging just 196, with lefty Nolan Hunt on the hill for Anthony Barone's Jammers. The Elmira Pioneers have seen Nolan Hunt. He picked up a victory against them earlier in the season, has appeared in 4 games, throwing 4 innings. And the first pitch here to left fielder Brett Vosick is fouled back, strike 1. Lefty to lefty here, Hunt to Vosick. 8, 9, and 1 due up for the Pioneers in the bottom of the 6th. Vosick, Schinkel, and Rodriguez. Vosick at the plate for a 3rd trip. Reached on a drop 3rd strike pass ball and stole 2nd then, back in the 3rd inning. Grounded into a fielder's choice back in the 4th. 0-1 pitch, misses outside, ball 1. Counts even at 1 on Brett Vosick. 1 ball, 1 strike pitch is low, ball 2, count 2-1. Strikes have been at a premium for the Jammers in tonight's game. 2-1 pitch by Hunt. Hit high in the air, shallow left, O'Donnell out, Conti in. Conti calls him off and makes the catch. Brett Vosick, it's a pop fly out to John Conti for the first out in the Pioneers' half of the 6th. It'll bring up second baseman Blake Schinkel. Schinkel popped out to pitcher Corey Blessing for the second out of the 3rd. I'm sorry, popped out, it was caught by, that's right. Tonight's catcher Connor Rule called off Corey Blessing and made that catch back there in the 2nd. And then he reached on an error to Chris Estrada in the 4th. Up here in the 6th with nobody aboard and 1 out, and a no ball, 1 strike count on him. Schinkel, right-handed hitter. Nolan Hunt, the lefty on the hill with the 0-1 pitch. Hits him. Comes inside and hits him on the knee. Not a fast pitch by any stretch. And down to first base is Schinkel. Runner aboard, 1 out. And now, quick meeting out in front of home plate between Nolan Hunt and Connor Rule. They have things discussed, and stepping into bat is Brent Rodriguez, the shortstop. Toss over to first, and back in safely is Schinkel. Rodriguez 0 for 2 tonight, grounding out to O'Donnell, making the first out of the first inning for the Pioneers. Walked in the third, and then popped out to Colin Stack for the final out of the fourth. Runner at first, 1 out, the pitch way outside, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Jammers bullpen trying to bring them through and maybe get a victory out of this road trip. This one's popped up in foul territory. Brookover really puts a charge into his run down the line, but is unable to get there in time, and it falls for strike 1. Counts even at 1-1 on Brent Rodriguez. A lot of the times when we come to Elmira, you see the flag in center field starched out off the pole, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that tonight. It's not moved off the flagpole all night. Just a dead evening, and it's nice and cool here too. As the evening has gone on, it's cooled off nicely. 1-1 the count here on Rodriguez, and the pitch by Hunt right down the pipe, taken by Rodriguez. Strike 2. Count now 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Game's tied at 4 here. We're in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Tied it in the top half of this inning, and Nolan Hunt trying to keep the Elmira Pioneers at bay. That pitch is outside, throw down by Connor Rule. Tag applied by Jimmy Standahar, and they catch. Blake Schinkel trying to steal second. Now, a lot of the times, everybody wants to see that throw right down on the bag, and that one was high, and it was a late slide by Schinkel, and everything worked out in the Jammers' favor. 2 out now and nobody aboard, and a 2-2 count on Brent Rodriguez. 72 degrees now in Elmira on this Thursday evening. This one's launched foul down the first base line. Brookover chases again, but can't get to it. Count still 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, nobody aboard. Jammers and Pioneers tied at 4 here in the bottom of the 6th. Two-two pitch. Another one foul down the first baseline. Brookover almost gets to that. Right before the warning track. Down that first baseline. Ben makes a sliding attempt, just can't get it. Count still with 2-2. Brett Rodriguez, right-handed hitting shortstop. Nolan Hunt, lefty on the hill. 2-2 pitch with 2 out. Oh my. I'm not quite sure where that was, but it was called ball 3. And the count is now full with 3-2. Rodriguez against the Jammers, hitting .227, but he did jack one out of Russell E. Dietrich Jr. Park, as you may recall, on a previous visit by the Pioneers to Jamestown. Fouls off that pitch. Count still 3-2. And we get to the 9th pitch of the at-bat here. Inning started with a pop-out by Vosick to John Conti in left. Schinkel was hit by a pitch and then caught stealing. Rodriguez fouls back another. We'll have a double-digit pitch at-bat now for Brett Rodriguez, with a full count and 4 foul balls so far. Nolan Hunt, his first inning of work out of the bullpen. Tonight's game started by Corey Blessing. Payoff pitch again. I don't know where that was, but it was called ball 4. 10th pitch of the at-bat yields a walk to Brett Rodriguez and brings up third baseman Troy Dixon. Troy Dixon walked in the 5th and then came around to score the 4th run of the night for the Pioneers when a pickoff attempt by Corey Blessing was thrown wild, and he just kept going around second and made his way to third. That happening back in the 5th, and the left-handed hitting Dixon takes the first pitch over the outside corner, strike one. No balls, one strike. Runner at first, Rodriguez, and 2 out. 0-1 pitch. Dixon was turning his back there as that came in, but it was actually pretty darn close to the inside corner, but it is ball one, and the count evens up at 1-1. 1-1 by Hunt. Trying for that outside corner again that time, but missing, and the count now 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike. Jammers and Pioneers, and there's a snap toss over to first by Nolan Hunt, and back safely is Brett Rodriguez. 2 balls, 1 strike. Hunt is ready with a 2-1. Dixon swings and misses, strike 2. Count now 2-2. Not a full deuces wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Just 1 on, though. That'll be Rodriguez down at first. 2-2 count. Hunt trying to finish this inning off, but before he throws to the plate, he's going to make a toss over and get Rodriguez to dive back into first base, head first. Get a little dirt in the pants. 2-2 pitch, off goes Rodriguez. Throw down by Rule again, and this time the throw gets past Alex O'Donnell. And Rodriguez is safe. Give Rodriguez the stolen base and make the count full now on Dixon. And the home plate umpire calls time. Goes out to dust the plate off. Connor Rule may have had some contact there in the follow-through by Dixon. Ump giving him a little bit of a breather there. Home plate's very clean now. 3-2 pitch. Hit towards center field. Valentine has it measured and makes a catch. That'll do it for the Pioneers in their half of the 6th. No runs, no hits, no Jammers errors, and 1 runner left. We have completed 6 at Dunn Field in Elmira, New York, and the score is tied. Jammers 4 and the Pioneers 4 here on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Pennswood.net Classifieds offers the freshest, most recent classified ads available with over 1,500 new ads each day. If you're looking for a reliable used vehicle, check out the multiple ads daily on Pennswood.net Classifieds. From cars, trucks, RVs, and motorcycles, you can scan the ads at Pennswood.net at any time of the day or night and find something that fits your needs. Looking for household items, student housing, or even a new pet? Pennswood.net Classifieds has it. Pennswood.net, where you can buy, sell, or trade locally.
I'm Little Teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
And there is pitching change for the Elmira Pioneers as the guy that was warming up, Alvin Vega, is now on the mound. He is a right-handed pitcher. After the Jammers looked at lefty Jake Hamilton, Jammers playing it the opposite way, starting the righty Corey Blessing and then coming on with Nolan Hunt. try to get some final numbers for Jake Hamilton on the evening. As Vega comes in to pitch. What we have unofficially on the night, Jake Hamilton, 6 innings, 26 batters, 4 runs, 5 hits. Walked 3, but struck out 6. Hit a batter. That was Chris Conley. Threw 109 pitches, 70 strikes, 39 balls. And Vega will face Alex O'Donnell. 9-1-2 again for the Jammers in the top of the 7th. It's happened before. See if the Jammers can make something come across the plate. OD is 1 for 2 in the night, singled back in the 3rd. Struck out swinging in his last at-bat. That for Alex was in the 5th. Jammers with a 2-run homer by Brookover back in the 1st, scored 2 more an inning ago, and the Pioneers scored 3 in the bottom of the 4th and 1 in the 5th. We are knotted at 4. Next pitch to O'Donnell. Catches that PGCBO outside corner for a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. O'Donnell, the leadoff batter for the Jammers here in the top of the 7th. Here's Vega's 1-2. Chopper hit toward the second baseman Schinkel, gobbles it up and throws over to Braden Combs to retire OD for the first out here in the Jammers half of the 7th. 1 up, 1 down, and Chris Conley will come to the plate. Chris Conley in a game for the Jammers for the first time since Sunday. Was battered and bruised, figuratively and literally, in that game Sunday afternoon, and was given the last 3 days off. He's been on the road with the team, but not in the lineup either Tuesday or Wednesday. Anthony Barone puts him in tonight, and the first pitch to Christ here from Vegas, strike 1. Christ on the night, fly ball out to center. On base 2 times via the walk and a hit by pitch. And that pitch to Conley misses, and the count's even at 1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here in the top of the 7th in a tie game. 4-4. Inside, backs Conley off the plate a bit. Count now 2-1. Not a surprise that Chris Conley has been hit a number of times. He does